Hello, everyone, and welcome to the number one podcast on the planet for helping you succeed, the Born to Succeed podcast. We are here to help you succeed on both a personal and professional level. How do we do that? We do that through motivation, inspiration, faith, hope, and love. And now, without further ado, your gracious host, Michael and Alyssa Merritt. All right. Welcome to the Born to Succeed podcast with Michael and Alyssa Merritt. We have a very special guest today, Miss Dee Cox. Her list is so long, guys. I could tell you it would take me about 20 minutes to read her bio. Between being an author, a romance author, many books out, she's got the 3 C's, compassion and caring and kindness. And she's just a lady that's very, very special. And so we're so blessed to have her on the podcast with us today because she's just going to share some words of wisdom and love and passion, which she has all over. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Miss Dee. How are you doing, ma'am?
Well, we're in the snow and we're in the ice and we're holding on like a hair on a biscuit, just blowing in the wind, waiting for the next storm to come through Kentucky and hoping that we all survive, we all maintain electricity, we all stay warm, and we all stay safe and hunkered down. So I guess we're doing okay.
Good. Well, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself because you are in pageants, you've got fur baby things going on, you're an author, multiple books. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Miss Dee, for those that are listening so they can get a little bit more about you.
Well, I was born and raised in Rooster Run, Kentucky. I was born on a farm, not like in the hospital or whatever, but born on the farm. And
right.
My grandfather, we did dairy cows, we did tobacco. And then when he delivered the milk, he delivered the moonshine in the old brown paper bag, except we didn't know that's what it was. We just thought it was kind of cool to be riding with him, and traveling to wherever. And sure enough, he was very well known in our community. And, liquor put food on the table, clothes on our backs, so, and I don't drink. That's how I got my nickname. I'm the designated driver. I'm the DD. So right. I'll take great care of you.
Right. That's great.
We grew up on a farm. So, that was the whole big background. And then when my grandmother, when I was old enough to drive, and she never had a driver's license, she could actually have a horse and buggy. She knew how to drive a horse and buggy. But she would always, after church on Sundays, she would go visiting. She'd go tooling about, and we would deliver hankies to the men. And then we would deliver washcloths, or like the tablecloths or whatever, not tablecloths, those things in the kitchen that you dry your dishes and stuff with dishcloth. And she would deliver those to the women, and we would deliver buttered pies. And that became my thing with her, was that special time to deliver to folk that were in need. And she would always ask, what do you need? Is everything okay? Do you need food? And
she was her own little helping hands.
and she
awesome.
taught me those 3 C's that I mention all the time: kindness, caring, and compassion. And I looked at her. Kindness doesn't begin with the C. And she said, no, but I captured your attention, and that's what you're to do. And so she fed me a lot of good scripture verses, and one of them was Acts 20:35, and I mentioned that in all my books and all my charity events. It's better to give than to receive, and it makes you feel good, makes your heart feel good.
Right.
So, and then later on, as time goes and you go to high school and you get married. I married my best friend from high school. We did not date, but I married my best friend. And it took us a little bit of a while to have a child. We could only have one child. And during that time frame was how, at the age of 30, I wrote the first book. Because here's what I wanted. Y'all remember Fabio. Remember Fabio he was on the boat. He always had the sword up, and his hair was blowing in the wind.
Right.
I just wanted him to ride past me on a beach, serve me sweet tea, and that's all I wanted. Nothing else.
And
that's all I wanted.
Your son, right?
And so little did I know that I would create my own Fabio or my own Fabio. So because his middle name is Bo, so they've hashtagged him that. They've hashtagged him the next Fabio or Fabio. But you know, you think about all those things back in your youth and what you did and what you read and who influenced you, and you know, to bring it forward, because it took us such a long time to have a child and to figure out what was taking place. When I had him, I was very mature.
Right.
So that put the writing on the back burner, because, you know, when you have a child, or when you're trying to have a child and then you do have the child, so many things take place and your priorities go in different directions.
Yeah,
they all divide.
You don't sweat the small stuff anymore, for real.
And baby, there's a lot of small stuff we're sweating and we don't need to be.
There is, for sure.
So, you know, when you're at that age, when you're in your 30s, you think you've conquered the world. You really haven't. You know,
right?
But you think you have. And I had him, and so I put everything on the back burner. And then I don't know what made me pick it back up, but I thought to myself, you know, he's in college. My husband and I are going to be left alone, you know, empty nesters. And I want to write. I want to do at least one romance book. That's all I wanted.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And so I went back to where I was at the age of 30 writing that book. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, you know, what the hey, you might as well just go ahead and finish it. You know, if anybody buys it, that's great. If nobody buys it, you did it. You know, you accomplished what you wanted to do. You finished a book. And I reached out to a very dear friend who had done a children's book. And I asked her who the publisher was. And so that began the whole whirlwind of becoming a romance author. And you know, the really cool thing is God has such a great sense of humor, such a wonderful sense of humor. Yeah. And, you know, in that book, I had Logan and Grace as the two main characters. Well, the young girl, hold on. So look, the young girl on the book, her name is Logan Grace. And I had never met her when I wrote the book. She hadn't even been born yet, and neither had my son. And so I can tell you how funny God is by putting her on a book with my son. They're best friends. No date. No dating.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
So that became the first book. And I was a published author at the age of 56. So
that's
ain't that
awesome.
a whooping? Isn't that pretty cool?
That's awesome. Yeah. Like when we were younger, we think, oh gosh, 50, that's old. You know, well, approaching 50, I'm thinking, shoot, I still feel like I'm 30. I mean, my body might not sometimes, but in my mind, I'm like, I still have a whole nother life to live. Can do anything I want to do starting today, right?
Absolutely.
Every day.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So you wrote your first book, and then did that get the bug going, and you're like, oh, I'm ready to write another book now, or what happened after that?
When I wrote the first book, I didn't know how it would be received, but it was received very well. Now, y'all know that you're going to have the negative naysayers, and you're going to have the folk that say, oh, I can't believe you did that. Or, you know, you're old, you're not going to be able to do anymore. You're just, what is it called when they say, oh, she's just a one-timer, a one-hit wonder. Ooh, a one-hit wonder, which was really cool.
Right.
And so I thought, you know, I talked to Michael with Beyond Publishing, my publisher, and I said, I want to write more. And so he said, let's do a 2-degree series. He said, your son's in nursing school. Let's just do all these series based on all these doctors, you know, whatever you want to come up with, you know, the theme and the little ideas. And I was like, okay. So after the 2 Degrees, 1 Heart, I went and I did The Perfect Christmas, because it's actually named after the doctor.
That's what we have right here.
Because everybody wants to correct it. You know, they say, you know, you spelled Christmas wrong. Yes, I know. I spelled Christmas wrong. You know, I did it for a particular purpose. And so this book was the second book. And from there, you know, it just kind of trickled. You know, God opens a lot of doors. I banged my head a lot against those doors.
Right.
I had migraines.
Right.
And, you know, he's like, just open the door. Just stop fretting. You know, stop worrying. You know, I got you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I did 3 more books.
That's what I was going to say. And then you just kept going, right? And you didn't listen to those.
So, like, you have, look, so then you did 2 Degrees Hotter. And somebody said, Alyssa, they said, look at his hair. That's not real. I said, it is too. That's his real hair.
Right.
And there's not extensions. There's no extensions in it. So yes, that's his real hair. And you know how I know that is because I'm his mama. You know,
right? Because you know, like back in the day, in the 80s, you know, there wasn't hair bands and hair. I mean, our thing was hair in the 80s, right? And probably that's when Fabio was around, was in the 80s. And so it's great that, but then some parents were like, long hair is a bad thing. That's what my dad said, right? No long haired boys, you know?
Yeah.
And it's awesome that you're like, grow your hair long, be yourself. That doesn't define you, right? What does your hair look like?
It
or
doesn't.
if it's long or if it's short.
Well, me being a product of the 80s,
you.
I had the wonderful mullet. You know, it was business in the front. Back, man, I had golden locks back here. You know, I was a bull rider, and you could just see hair coming out of the back of that cowboy hat. You know, it was just, that's what you had. You know, the Billy Ray Cyrus days. Let's just grow it out back here somewhere. You know,
and that was the image. You know, that was the image.
Yeah. So then you went on. You kept writing books. And then tell us more. What happened there?
So look, so after I wrote that 3rd book, you know, Michael, my publisher, goes, let's put him on there all by himself. Let's see what happens, you know, if you put your son, you know, just as the cover model. So I did this book. So look, I did Stolen Roses, and I put him on there all by himself. And we did a country music video, and a country music singer by the name of Savannah wrote the song to Stolen Roses, and Lord have mercy, it blew up. It just went crazy with him being on that cover by himself. And I had so many wonderful, amazing things. You know, God has such a way of saying, if you would just trust me, you know, I got this, and I got you. And so now this has been my biggest seller. And then I thought, Michael said, okay, when you start your new series, you know, everybody has been, so I'm going to continue writing. Sure, I'll continue writing. I'll do it. You know, twist my arm. And so my last book in the series is, look, All His Love for Christmas. And it's based on a bulldog at the end of it, because I rescue bulldogs, and I wanted to do the next 5 books called Rescue Me. And so we've started the very first book, which will be out. I think we've set a date for like maybe March or April, the spring, and it's called Fraternity, F-U-R-T-E-R-N-I-T-Y, Fraternity Leave, because there's a mama bulldog, and she's going to have puppies, and no one knows what to do or how to take care of this situation. So
awesome.
That's awesome. So what inspires you?
What inspires me? Yes, look, I got bulldog earrings and little paws.
Cute.
Yeah.
I think everyday life. You know, I watch your guys, you know, when you do your Merritt coaching, and when you put the inspirational posts, the pictures and different things, I think every day, you know, it's like a pastor. That's what I'll call you guys. It's like a pastor. You know, you think, oh my, you know, and that picture or whatever, he knew what was going on. You know, today you guys did the Bugs Bunny and the Daffy Duck. That was hysterical. And I grew up on that. You know, we all have that special, I don't know, where you reach someone, or you understand someone, or just like you guys, you know, when you do your inspiration or when you do your coaching, everybody connects in a special way. And so most of the books are actually, from my experiences, probably just like what I see with you. You know, I mean, when we sat down at the table and we shared supper, And both Eileen Hornback and I, who's another author and a good friend of all of ours, she said, I really like them. And I said, I do too. I said, they're kind of cool. You know,
we love you guys.
God puts you together with those amazing connections that you share that passion. And so a lot of it is based on my whole upbringing. Every single one of my books has a little bit of what I grew up with. And, you know, I put God in there. Somebody said, you know, that your books are like premarital X and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I put God in there, you know, because God's everywhere.
Yeah, God's with us. We sin. Yeah, God's with us when we sin. He's there beside us when we do good. When bad happens, he's there beside us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can't prevent bad from happening. And so when it does, you have to know he's there beside you. So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So Eileen, her book's called Breathe. Miss Eileen, right? Breathe. And she's a Beyond Publishing author as well. Now tell us about your book. It's being made into a movie. Tell us about that. What's going on with that?
There's two of them. So one is The Perfect Christmas. We've got
right,
Tawny.
Which is again that book right there, right? Here we go. Yeah.
That's the one. That's it.
Yeah.
And then Tawny out in California actually has submitted it. So you're sitting on pins and needles waiting to see who's going to pick it up. The other one, Stolen Roses, Michael, my publisher, and I have been going back and forth with Jeff from Lucky Day Studios, who is looking at Stolen Roses, because I wanted the book was based a little bit in Kentucky, off of the Kentucky festivals that are held in our Commonwealth. And there's the mention of my husband's band in there that he played in. And so I wanted that piece of it, Stolen Roses, and the young artist who sang the song was up for a Lexington Music Award. My producer of the video, Austin Ozier, and you know, you have your hair and makeup artists, Jeanette and Scooter, you have all these wonderful people. And so now two of them are up for movies. Now look, I told somebody, I said, I don't want to be on the big screen, you know, one of them feature films. I just want to have a Hallmark, because I love Hallmark. You know, they're chirpy and sappy.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that is so awesome. Congratulations, man. That is so good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what's great about it is, you know, Hallmark is just a loving home, you know, just comfort and feeling, which is what we need in the world today, right? Is that love and joy and, you know, and the peace.
Yeah. So you mentioned your fur baby. So tell us about your fur baby stuff, and then we'll get on to your pageant stuff too, because it's a lot of stuff there. So tell us about your fur babies.
Well, my fur babies, I have two bulldogs, one Victorian, one English, both rescues. And then I have Sunny, my little cat. He's a rescue too. My little girl, Elizabeth, has been with us, I think about 5 going on 6 years. She was severely abused. She had never seen the light of day. She was nothing but a breeding dog, and she lost her teeth and very high anxiety. But my little girl, she's hanging on. She's a little old girl. She's doing good. Rocky is the big Victorian. He's like bigger than me, and he's a hot mess. And he was actually surrendered because the individual could not care for him, because he does quite. He was given rescue through Shelby County Rescue, because I had lost my other cat, Jackson. He was 13 years old. And so we had to put him to sleep. And my son is just amazing with animals, and he wanted another cat. And so we ended up with Sunny. And I promote the rescue in this new series, the Rescue Me series. I give a portion back of the sale of my books to Indiana Bulldog Rescue. That's who brought me Elizabeth and Rocky. And that's who I want to be able to support, because as you know, rescue it's 24/7. It doesn't stop. And there's such horrific stories, and you know, you hope that the fur babies get the loving, you know, and the hugging that they deserve, and to know what those last few years of their life. It's hardly we get any puppies. It's our old folk, it's our old pups.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to show them the love. So yes, that's what I do. I rescue little dogs.
I just told our little Penny the other day that she did not know what it was like to be a dog. No dog probably gets pet as much as she gets pet every day. When she has to start out in the morning, she comes right up to you, gets right in your face, and is like, okay, I'm awake now. Let me have some attention. She's a hot mess.
She runs.
And don't you love how they move around? They're wiggling and moving.
Yeah, she's like a parrot and a cat.
She runs straight up my chest. She'll get right here on my shoulder, put her head in here like this, and I'll hug her, and she'll put her little head under here. I'm like, you hug better than most humans do. I mean, she will. She'll just hug into me and snuggle. I'm like, I love you too. I mean, she's crazy. But
well, we're all missing hugs. Look at this pandemic that we're in. I remember when I was with you guys, we were able to hug each other and tell each other congratulations, goodbye. It was so nice to meet you. Right. I talk to Eileen daily. We solve the world's problems every morning. But, she said, I cannot wait to see them and hug them, because I was talking about the podcast and stuff. And she said, I miss that affection, maybe of friendship,
We all do.
of being able to hug you and say, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. How are you guys doing? And country folk can hug good. We know how to hug. It is not just a little hug, pat on the back.
Yeah.
It's a big old hug. So.
Right. Yeah. And we all need that. I mean, I've told her studies that I've read before say we need 5 hugs a day minimum. And then really 10 is the optimum. I mean, we don't get that really and truly. A lot of hugging, and especially in this day and age, really everybody is so pushed back. So especially for those people that you would see every time and be like, come here, give me a hug. I mean, it just doesn't happen. Now, we went out and spoke the other night at a church, and when I got there, one of my students I've had forever, she kind of started walking towards me and was like, let me give you an elbow bump. And she was like, okay, well, I was going to hug. I was like, you know what? Get over here. Give me a hug.
Yeah, I'm a hugger.
And so I gave her a big old hug. I was like, I've known you for a long time. Give me a hug. So we were lucky. We got invited to come out and speak at our church to our youth group and some other folks there. So, but we gave her a big old hug. You did as well, right?
Yeah, I definitely gave a hug. I'm a hugger. And when I see people that I haven't seen in a while, I don't hug. I mean, and so when people are skittish of it, I think, I know who you are. You know who I am. Why aren't you giving me a hug? This is ridiculous.
Right.
But Mike and I make time to, whether we might not talk for half a day because we're busy doing stuff, but we'll stop and give a hug to each other because it's just important. And when you're at home, you've got your dogs, your cats, and your spouse. And if your children are still there, you have your children.
Yeah. It's just being more.
It's so sad. Our children, because of being at home and not being able to go to school and seeing their friends and hugging their friends and different things, they have become lost and have now become so distant that they don't know what's right. Is it okay to hug you? Is it not you? And you're right. I hug my son. I hug my animals. I hug my husband. When I go home to Mama's to help with my mama, I still get a hug from Mama. Now she's not really understanding, all the implications that everybody wants to, pass on to her. She just kind of looks at them. But affection is so important with folk, and when you lose that touch, or when you lose, I mean, that makes a difference. It makes
even a smile.
Difference.
It really does. It really does. We all need that. We all need that inside, and it just goes deep into our subconscious. And like so many things that feed into our subconscious, you really don't think about it because it's your subconscious. It can be stuff that you're listening to, watching on TV, being surrounded by, and it changes you. And so this is something, definitely the transcendence of being touched and being close to one another. We need that. That's just something that's human interaction. That's what we're built for. God didn't make us to be on our own. He meant for us to do what? Christ's law. Love one another like I love you. So that's what he made us for. And so for us to be so separate and like, stay 6 feet away, we're not meant to be that way. We're really not. So obviously COVID's got things jacked up, and we'll pray that, it gets better soon, because no doubt we got to get back to at least that human interaction, not back to what people say all the time. Get back to normal. That normal was not good. That's why God stopped everything. He was like, let's stop. I'm going to shake you up.
That's done.
I'm going to shake you. All right, now wake up. Put a mask on your face for a while, and then we're going to get back, and then we're going to change, But we got to get back to touching each other. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. So definitely a great point. So tell us about your pageants now, because I know you're a big pageant lady. And I think I just saw the other day you were appointed director of something. Is that correct now?
Oh, that is, I have been very blessed in the pageant industry, which has brought me into the charitable side. And I have served on several different 501c3 boards, and I was nominated and actually received the WLKY Bell Award almost 4 years ago, because of my community service and because of my community involvement and because of giving back. I always quote the Acts 20:35. Yeah. And they decided, after watching several things that I was able to do via Zoom or, via 6 feet apart in 2020, they actually invited me to serve on the foundation board of the WLKY Spirit of Louisville. And that is a huge honor in our city, because that is one of the highest honors you can receive, is to be recognized, but not be recognized. I didn't do it to be recognized. I did it because my grandmother taught me, you got to take care of folk. Folk need help. Somebody always needs help. And so I was very honored to be placed on the board. And so we move forward this year and take a look at what's going on in the community. The other thing too, in the pageant industry, how I got involved was at the age of 40, very long time ago, very long time ago. I competed in the Mrs. Kentucky America. I had a wonderful director, Joanne Peterson, and she still directs, as a matter of fact. But I did it, and we had to wear a swimsuit. We had to do interview. Heather Finch Henry's mom and dad, a former Miss America 2000, her mom and dad were two of my judges. And awesome. The interview was my favorite part, but I had to wear a swimsuit. And when I walked out, my husband had no idea what I had done to the swimsuit, because I was competing against 25, 28-year-old married little girls that had just those silhouette figures. And so I had a wonderful designer, Rhonda Shimwell Shelton, who designed all my wardrobe. And when I walked out in my bathing suit, how you had those big hooker shoes on, they got like 6 inches on them. I had to walk around the kitchen trying to make sure I wasn't gonna fall. And so I had those on, and I had a beautiful red swimsuit on, and I looked like Dolly Parton. And my husband, I could read his lips from the audience when I hit the end of the runway, and he was like, because he had no idea. And then I heard my son, who was 4 years old at the time, because I had him when I was 36, he screamed out, he said, "That's my mama," and so that began the pageant side of it. And through that, several directors contacted me. My best friend and I, Kim Ball and I, we ended up as co-directors of the Kentucky Festival, several prelims. And look, we actually patented, I don't know if you can see it, it says it's more than just. It has to be more than about the crown, the sash, the title. It has to be about the servant's heart. And so we've stayed in the festival system, and then we're in the Miss America system. We have the Miss Mayo Kentucky Home prelim. And Kim and I, we try to get the girls involved in community service, because that's where connections are. Folk don't realize all these connections that can be made. And it's just incredible. And plus, it teaches them how to speak out in public to a stranger. You don't have to go up to them and be all lovey-dovey, but you at least have to carry a conversation. And that's what I look for when, we talk to our judges and they're judging the girls. And it's just an opinion. It's a different day, different judge, different opinion based on who wins. but we've held on to that, and Diane Turner in the Kentucky Festival, she's my actual state and national director. We talk about, right now we have that big Heart Healthy. We're jumping for the American Heart Association 28 times a day for every day in February. Let me tell you what, this old girl, she had not jumped rope since she was in elementary school. I tell you what, my knees are just about ready to say, oh my Lord.
Put a trampoline under me.
You do it because you got little weights. That's cute. I probably need to do that. I never thought of that. But you have little eyes watching you all the time and say, I'm going to do this. I have to do it the correct way. So I'll just jump 28 times every day for February. And my husband did have a massive heart attack. So the American Heart Association is very close to me. He had it when he was very young. He was 43. He lost 70% of his heart. And I think they call it a widowmaker. I almost lost him. And so, being mindful of that, in March Madness, we're doing March of Dimes, we're drilling the basketball, 31 times every day to bring awareness to March of Dimes. I have a very dear friend, Betty Post. Her granddaughter has competed in my prelims. But, there's so much out there that awareness needs to be brought, the attention, placed, because we're in a pandemic and none of these charities can hold a gala. They do the virtual. And, it's not the same. It's okay. But, you're not face to face, and you're not meeting folk, and you're not able to do your silent auctions or, get in your gown and get all dressed up and walk in, and there's the red carpet, So that side of the pageant industry has opened up another door, just for connections that people don't realize. They think the pageant industry, it's so foo-foo. It is foo-foo, You're out there in a gown, a talent, fun fashion, swimsuit, trying to make sure you don't fall off the shoes. And it's a sport. It is truly a sport to be able to do that. And so my whole goal is to coach them and get them prepared, when they get out in the world, to be able to do an interview, to be able to speak, to be able to talk.
Yeah, because they're definitely putting themselves out there, right? I mean, they're putting themselves out there 100%, just like you did, from being in the bathing suit to the gown to the talk to this side. I mean, you really do have to be multi-talented to be able to show all of that of yourself and be able to be outgoing and show that you're talented. And so that really is a great thing. And again, then the camaraderie and the lessons that are learned and things like that of being in that, those are things that never leave you, right? And then the mentors that you have, just like you, mentoring
they
younger. Yeah. I mean, as you mentor the younger ones, it just keeps passing down the line, right?
I hope so. And I hope, that I've instilled just a little bit of self-esteem and self-confidence in this wicked old world. I watched one of your podcasts when you speak about coaching, how to be a better you. Everybody is not the same. Everyone is unique, made in his image, but unique, and I watched that one podcast and, I thought, if I could instill anything in anybody, is it don't be the same. I think, Mike, you mentioned, it's okay to be different. Voila, just be different.
Yeah. And I try to say that all the time because Zig Ziglar used to say that. That was one of his favorite things. He goes, once you figure out you'd make a really good you, and you're going to make a really crummy somebody else. So stop trying to be somebody else. You're going to make a really great you once you figure out, I'm not going to be somebody else, so be you. And it's okay to be different because we are.
Well,
we're all different.
And I looked at, Alyssa, it's the Diamond book. Am I correct?
Right. Finding Diamonds.
Finding Diamonds.
Yes. So Eileen and I were talking about that, and you have to break that mold. And a diamond is so rare. And a diamond can be cut so many different ways. And we listened to you speak about that, and people think diamonds are expensive. Yeah, they're expensive, but there's such a polishing and a molding like God does with us, like the water with the clay. And so your diamonds, just kind of touched. me when I read, I'm not all the way through the book, because I like writing, trying to read, right. trying, to get it all in. Eileen and I talk about the different books, the different authors and different things. And so we were talking about some of the excerpts, and she said, a diamond is beautiful, but a diamond also requires work. And when you do that molding, that folding, speaking to God about it, the diamond shines. And that's what I see in Alyssa. We were talking, I said, she's like a big shiner.
Yeah, that's one of the things I told Alyssa a long time ago. A diamond is formed under pressure. It's formed under pressure, right? I mean, it doesn't just come from, let's pick it out of the ground. Here it is. No, like you said, it's formed under pressure, and then it's cut, and then it's polished, and then it's shaped, because it can be pear-shaped, diamond-shaped, round. I mean, what are we going to turn it into? And again, just showing you how we're all different. We're just like those diamonds, right? Just like you, a beautiful diamond.
And thank you. And like, I take my ring back, my wedding ring back to the jeweler and have it shined up and cleaned up every, once in a while. And so that's what we have to do with ourselves as diamonds. We have to keep growing and learning and continuing to move on and serve and be servants. And I just say, the 12 women, I mean, it's just like a small amount of women who actually are diamonds in the world. I said I could have series after series if people would just give and write their story. There's a million stories, and everyone's not the same, but people are relatable. And that's how we create, of course, relationships. So, the main thing is in the book is just to know that you're not alone, and to know that there are other people that have been really in bad places, but they saw through their faith, and they leaned on God. And like you said earlier about trusting in the Lord, because sometimes things don't make sense to us. And we're like, and then he creates a bigger plan than we could ever even imagine, right? So we're thinking, I'm going to write one book, ha, 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 ha. Oh, I have 2 movies? What in the world, I'm going to do one pageant. I'm in the pageant, And so he just has bigger plans for us. I mean, I'm excited. I just asked somebody, I was like, I need the best words to describe the book so that people understand the stories that are in the book, and how that they're transforming, even with the words and the scriptures that the women use. It's just I'm excited for it to come out. I didn't mean to take over your podcast for sure, but I'm excited for it to come out.
But you know what? That's the beauty. That's the beauty of being able to share. And first off, let me apologize. I remember the first time I met you in Texas, I called you Alyssa, and it's Alyssa. And Eileen and I do that all the time, and I'm so sorry. I
it's okay.
mispronounce your name all the time. No, it's not okay, because I get folk all the time when they want to spell my name with a capital D, and I'm like, y'all pay attention to what the book says. It's a little d, little e, space, little d, little e. Just make it little. Stop, farting around with trying to capitalize my D. It's not capitalized. So, Alyssa, I apologize.
Thank you, Dee.
Well, Jeremiah 29:11 tells us, right? He has plans to prosper us, right? And not to harm us, for he loves us. I mean, there's so many verses that we could go with. And we know Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Acts 20:35, right? I mean, we get these verses, and it's not just to memorize, because there are so many people that can memorize verses. That's not what it's about. It's about taking them and then applying them, right? And that's like inspiration.
I named my son Isaiah for Isaiah 40:31. I will mount up on the wings of eagles. I shall run and not be weary. I shall walk and not be faint.
Yes.
Don't stop walking. Don't stop running.
Yes.
Keep moving. Keep going. Something's gonna happen.
That's right. If we just keep moving forward every day, no matter what, keep moving forward every day.
Yeah,
right?
One of the things we talk about, like, just because you graduate high school or you graduate college, you don't stop learning there. I mean, going on 50, life is a learning process, a journey, and it's always forever changing, and you're forever just having to grow and learn. Of course, you don't have to, but if you want to be something different than you are today, then you want to take action.
Right.
Most folk think that if they take a step that they don't have the security, or they don't have the knowledge, or they don't know that it's actually going to happen, they won't take the step. Sometimes, what is that? You got to take that leap of faith, that step.
Yes. Yeah. Got to get out of that comfort zone. Got to get off the couch.
Definitely.
And that's what a lot of people are afraid to do. Because if I step out of my comfort zone, well, what's going to happen, right? That's where people get uncomfortable. I don't want to change. I don't want to change.
My grandmother always said, you can't have success without failure. And the more failures you have, you'll understand success.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
You know, and she told me, she said, you are so not the square. You know, you're not those four corners. You're the circle outside the square running everybody ragged. And that's what I tried to tell, you know, the pageant girls or whoever I'm speaking with. Don't sit in those four corners, because there's nowhere else to go. Once you do 1, 2, 3, 4, that's it.
Right.
Walls are done.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow.
I was so excited to talk to you. I still am excited. I kept thinking yesterday and I just thought, I can't wait to talk to Dee Dee, because there's so much to talk about. Your life is so exciting now. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us, taking the time. It's good to see you again. We did only have a brief few, hours and moments together. So I can't wait to get back together again. I think, we talked about the Derby, right? But who knows what's going to happen with all that. But you never know what's to come. We have lots of things that are going on, changing and growing. And so God is good. He makes up all plans. And so I'm sure we'll see you again.
Oh, I'm counting on it. I need a hug. I need a big old hug, not one of them little weeny little hugs. You need a big old hug.
Well, we have those in Texas.
Well, we love to have you on the podcast. We're so blessed to have you in our circle. We tell people all the time that as we grow, our circle tends to get bigger but smaller. That, if that makes sense, we have 5,000 friends on Facebook, but the smaller of our intimate groups, and so it's good to have you in our circle. And I do say that when we have a great circle, that all boats rise together. When you have great people around you, you rise, they rise, and we're just all, look at us rising together, and by faith, trusting in the Lord. Look at what he's doing, more than we could ever imagine, because he tells us that I'll do more for you than you could ever even imagine. You imagine that I'm going to give you this much and give you this much land, and I'm going to give you 400,000 times that. So just trust in me and stop going this, right? And I tell people this all the time. It's when you start accepting and stop expecting that it happens. Because when I'm expecting, man, look, why is this happening? I'm expecting this. It just doesn't happen. But when you just start accepting his grace and you're like, look at this. I don't deserve all this. Lord, I'm going to remain humble. Oh, thank you so much. And then it just pours. And then God reminds you, just keep blessing others now. I'm blessing you, but keep blessing others, right? Just like you've done. So you're an amazing lady, Miss Dee Dee. Your best is still yet.
You guys are amazing. When you talk about God has all the blessings and stuff, and he wants you to realize, what he's doing. God also says, don't get those panties too big, because they're going to fall off. If your panties are too big, they'll just slide on down. So,
that's right.
Take my blessings. Yes. Take my blessings and be humble about my blessings and share my blessings, because you don't know what folk are going through. We're all going through something, but and he brings you back and he tells you, I don't know why you're walking away from me. I've been here the whole time, and it's okay that you did, just come on back to the fold, and I will tell you, every day I see your post on Facebook, and I do get some emails and stuff. Congratulations on a lot of your guys' podcasts of appearing as guest speakers. I think that's wonderful to get that word out, especially about the coaching group, and about the book that Alyssa has. I know, when's the debut on that, by the way?
18th.
Yeah, the 18th for ebook. And then really? I'm hoping to have one in hand by the 25th. So I have you and Eileen on my list to send a book to. So you'll get a free
that
hug.
would be fantastic.
Yes.
I think that's great. But I have to remain humble. I have to say only by his grace and mercy. And then I have to believe that little bitty faith of a mustard seed, that my faith is gonna like touch somebody or pull me through or help me to climb the mountain or go around the mountain, wherever that little mustard seed is.
Yeah.
So, I have enjoyed, like I said, I cannot wait to just like hug you guys and just say hello and give a kiss on the cheek, because country folk do that all the time. But just to say thank you.
Absolutely.
Just to say thank you.
Absolutely. We're going with that. I have made 1 Peter 5:6 and 5:7 one of my life verses, and I say it all the time, and I say it throughout my podcast, and I post it. 1 Peter 5:6 says, of course, I need to humble myself before the Lord. And then once I do that, 1 Peter 5:7 says that I can then release my anxieties and inequities upon him. But don't do it before you do Peter 5:6. Don't come Peter 5:7 and say, hey, can you take care of all this stuff? He's like, you did 5:6 first, right? Humble yourself before him. So for me, I tell Alyssa, I always want to remain humble. Zig Ziglar is one of my favorite guys ever. I started listening to Zig when I was 16 years old. And the one thing about Zig is they say, he impacted about 250 million people in his life. And that's without social media. And, you can think about how big he could have gotten. They said to the day he died, he remained humble. And so many people say, how did he do that? And he himself professed it, and the people around him will say it. He asked people every day to pray for him to remain humble. He would walk into his office and people would say, good morning, Zig. Good morning. How are you doing? I'm great. Pray for me to remain humble. Pray for me to remain humble because I'm getting big. Whoa, my pants are getting big. And he stayed humble. And that's amazing. And so that's what I tell her. No matter how big we grow and the audiences get bigger, we hope that we do that just so we impact more lives. That's what it's about. Just like with you, it's not about being a movie star, but if the movie gets out there, what am I doing? Impacting those lives. And so as we grow, we just hope that we stay humble. And that's the greatest thing ever. And certainly have that, just like you, that good old humble attitude of, hey, I'm here to serve others. That's why we're here. God put us here on purpose. For a purpose with a purpose.
And we're going to give you a hug.
Absolutely. So Miss
That's
Dee Dee,
the best thing.
There you go. So Miss Dee Dee, a couple of nuggets of wisdom you want to leave our listeners with today.
Always, always remember the 3 C's. Be kind, caring, and compassionate. And no, kindness doesn't begin with a C, but capture someone's attention and help them. Acts 20:35. Always, it is so much better to give than to receive. Your
Amen.
Your heart will feel, it's sort of kind of like the Grinch. It just grew 10 times. When you don't think of yourself and you think of somebody else, then it happens. That's when the blessing occurs.
Right.
And you may or may not realize it, but it's there. So be kind, caring, and compassionate. And it's better to give than to receive. And I love you guys. I'm so glad I got to talk to you. Thank you.
We love you too.
Well, thank you so much. Miss Alyssa.
I just want to say thank you again. And I can't wait to see, what happens in the future. I can't wait to see you and give you the hug, and really appreciate you coming on. I mean, it's really I just can't keep smiling because it's so good to see you.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up with what I always do. I say this, and it goes with what you just said a second ago. Mr. Zig Ziglar always reminds us you can have everything you want in life if you just help enough others get what they want and need. And just remember that, guys. When we serve others, God serves us. He takes care of us because he knows, hey, look at them. They're taking care of others. That's what I put them there for. I'm going to take care of them and then some and bless them abundantly. Miss Dee Dee, it's been amazing having you on the podcast. I so look forward to seeing you in the future. And again, getting that hug, no doubt, like you said, getting a kiss as well. And maybe we can do that in Kentucky. We'll see what happens. But until then, we look forward to seeing you.
Stay warm.
So again, for all those that are listening, check Miss Dee Dee's stuff out. So many books out there. I'm telling you, this is going to enrich your life. And thank you so much to everybody listening. Have a blessed day. And until next time, remember the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated, for that is what God created us to do. Thank you so much, Miss Dee Dee. Bye-bye.
Bye, baby. Bye, guys.
Bye.
We want to thank everyone so much for taking the time to listen to the Born to Succeed podcast with Michael and Alyssa Merritt. We know that you have a very busy schedule, and we appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend time with us. You can find us at Merritt Coaching Group on YouTube, Facebook. You can email us at merrittcoachinggroup@gmail.com. We want to remind you that you can have everything you want in life if you just help enough others get what they want and need. Remember to follow the golden rule. You can have everything you want. Yeah, but you got to do what? Treat others as you want to be treated. So until next time, have a very blessed day. From Michael and Alyssa Merritt.